Ooh, it's all cold. Cool down the whole shop, even with the doors open. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Full Blast Garage. On this one, we're tackling the AC, which is gonna be an absolute necessity on this Chevelle when we're taking it all the way across the country. So stick around, we're gonna go through kind of a little walkthrough on what you need to do to install one of these kits, get it charged up, check to see if it's working. So stick around while we put this thing on full blast. Make sure you do it on full blast. All right, well, when you're ordering one of these $500, $550 kits off Amazon, I think that's kind of the going rate, and they almost all look the same. The one I got, the name says Triligo. I don't know, translate that for me, guys. But I think on all of them, they come with this giant shrouded fan, and you can kind of see the thickness of it. So, and I've seen some other guys run into issues with this also. If you're gonna run this as a puller behind the condenser, you're gonna need a bunch of room, like 5 inches or something. Like, it sticks out a lot. So when you order this kit, you might wanna go ahead and order one of them 12-inch slim fans, just so you have it on hand, ready to go. Because that's the worst thing. When you start one of these projects, you gotta stop, wait 2 days, because you're missing a part. But just go ahead and order it. If you don't need it, return it. Amazon will take anything. I mean, you could probably use the fan, put another fan in the box, and they'd probably return it. But don't do that. Don't recommend that. But okay, now that we got that out of the way, and that just hit the ground, everything else on this particular kit's kind of ready to go. All the hose ends are terminated, which kind of is another problem in and of itself, but hey, at least I don't have to crimp anything. And you have everything, like it's ready to go. You just kind of got to mount your condenser, your compressor, and your interior unit. Do a little bit of wiring. It's super easy. This might be kind of one of those things like, why haven't I been doing this for a long time? Because it's that easy. But we'll see if it actually works when I'm done. And you can decide for yourself if you ever want to use one of these. But again, I like to kind of break these projects down, you know, as a outside the cab portion of the project and inside the cab. So let's go ahead and walk around, you know, the outside area of the cab and what you're gonna need to do to install this under the hood. All right, component one, and it's a real important one. That's your compressor. These electric ones, from what I understand, you can mount them in any orientation, but for servicing, it kind of makes the most sense to mount it where your low pressure port is sticking up, you know, to be able to hook up our refrigerant line and charge it. And then you got all your electrical connections right here in a row also. So all the hoses only go on like one way. So then there's a diagram that's really clear. But what's gonna happen, you'll have your low pressure port up here. On the other side of the compressor will be your high pressure port. So you got that one down there. Your electrical up here, you've got hot, you got a hot running to the battery, a hot running inside to your unit. You've got a positive and a negative for your fan. And you can see there's a diagram actually under printed on it. It'll say fan positive, fan negative. Then you got your ground, your grounds, and there'll be a ground for the inside unit, ground to the battery. And then this is your compressor signal wire. So this will tell the compressor to come on. And that's it. I mean, all this wiring's already done. You literally just have to screw these guys on. But you got a whole lot of extra, especially if you're mounting it just right here. Your battery's here. So for now, this thing's gonna get tucked up out of the way. And also, like your hose, let me see, like your low pressure hose that's going in right here. There's a lot of it, guys. Like, look, that's, I don't know, 6 feet more than I need. But I'm gonna, you know, bundle this guy up, get it away from the header, kind of coil it as tight as I can. And we're gonna make this work for at least the poverty tour like this. I have a buddy that does all these AC fittings. I can get him to come in and trim to fit perfectly. But it's kind of one of those things, I wanna make sure this is a good kit and it's not really worth going through the process of trimming and everything just yet. I wanna, you know, check on it, make sure it's good, then we'll clean everything up. So your low pressure, she's coiled up. She's gonna go into your interior unit. Your high pressure line, she's wrapping around, going up to your condenser. Let's take a look at that. And your high pressure line is the larger diameter hose here. And we already had some holes here. I drilled one through the core support. But your high pressure hose is going to go in your top port of your condenser here. And this guy, I got it mounted. She's got some metal zip ties on top, solid mount on bottom, but she's pretty firm and there's really nowhere for it to go. And then you have another line. There's one other line in the entire kit. You'll have a port that's facing, you know, up or down based on how you put the condenser in. And mine was facing up, so you'll have to, you know, thread straight into that line. And then we're wrapping around. This is the one that's, she's up in the air and going into the cab. So that's really it. So you have two connections of AC lines on your interior unit, and that's it. So when you guys are connecting all these, I highly recommend oiling all the O-rings. If you have like refrigerant oil or just any kind of oil, something with some, you know, just viscosity to it that will wet those O-rings, because that helps them seal. You definitely want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab my core support mount here for the radiator and tighten that guy down, and then we'll move inside and take a look at that. Not gonna lie, I love the way these Chevelles mount the radiator up here. It's super easy and it holds it very well to the core support. If you guys are looking at this aluminum radiator, it's just it's an eBay job. eBay, look for ones with the dual electric fans, aluminum. I believe it said this is a 4-core. Who knows? But it's been doing the job. I mean, it keeps this big block pretty cool when I'm just sitting here idling. And it takes a while for the fans to kick on. All right, make sure you're not interfering. Yeah, you want to make sure you're not interfering with your condenser any, now that you got your radiator sucked up. And even with that slim fan, I mean, we might have an inch. So we're tight, but we're clearing. So that's really it, guys. That's as easy as it gets. I transferred over the connector on the fan that they gave with the shroud to the slim fan, so everything connects just how the kit came. I always, on these Chinese fans, check polarity, like hook it up, what you think is right, feel behind it. Make sure it's putting out, you know, a ton of air, like it's pulling. I even like to reverse it and just feel if there's any change, because sometimes the way the blades are, it can be, I don't know, a little weird, and you can actually flip the blades around and it's a better puller. I've had that happen, so I don't know what kind of voodoo magic was going on there, but you definitely check it, check your fan, both polarities, and make sure you're getting a hard pull on your blades with the air passing through. And that really, I mean, that's it. You know, that kind of concludes the exterior portion. I'm gonna wait to wire up my positive and negative until I have the lines connected up and everything the way it's supposed to be on the inside. So let's go ahead and move in there. All right, so now we're gonna work with our interior unit. And there's 3 mounting locations, so 1 on each side, 1 kind of in the middle on the back towards the bottom. You're gonna wanna use all 3 so this guy's not wiggling around or anything. But seems to be mounted pretty well. On this car, you do have a decent amount of room under the console. So that's something I was concerned about. It'll clear, no problem. So probably any of the A-body cars, GM, you can mount it here in the middle. You don't have to offset it over here, kind of in the passenger compartment. She's fine right there. So now I just got to figure out where to mount the CB, which will probably be hanging off the side of the console somewhere. Our wiring, super simple. You're going to want to feed this cable through, and it's just a plug connector right to your unit. So you're going to plug this guy in. Then you have the line coming from your low pressure, or actually, yeah, I think this is coming from your low pressure, and this one's coming from your low pressure, and this one's coming from the other side of the condenser, I believe, yes. And there's 2 ports on the back of this unit, and they can only bolt on one way. So it's super simple, like everything's really built to just go together in the one orientation. It might take you a minute to decipher, you know, some of the diagrams and stuff they give you, but I would say everything for the most part pretty clear. For something this inexpensive, I would say I'm incredibly happy with it. And again, everything's getting plugged, but this is going to be just really temporary till I can get, you know, where this stuff's going to need to be hidden. All this wire can probably go up under the dash here, because I have a lot of open space now that I don't have the big old giant AC box anymore. So what you're going to want to do is unscrew your plastic cap. Make sure you got an O-ring on this hose. And I'm oiling it up. Oil up the O-ring. And don't be incredibly concerned when you hear like a giant vacuum pop. These guys come pressurized. I don't know if it's vacuum or actually pressured, but it feels like vacuum to me. There will be like a little rubber plug. You need to make sure that guy comes out. It'll never work if you leave that in. Then we're gonna have to kind of manipulate the hose here to get it in the port. All right, we're gonna go ahead and tighten her up by hand. Then we will hit it with the wrench when we get ready to be done putting these fittings on. And make sure this guy threads on pretty easy by hand, because you do not want to cross thread this stuff. The nut really pulls the O-ring up against the fitting here, and it needs to be perfectly flat to seal. So you should be able to get it 90% of the way by hand pretty easily. Oh, glove box is a little touchy. All right, so now same thing for our other hose. Pull the cap on the hose. Lube up your O-ring. All the O-rings in this kit were already installed on the hoses, so you do not have to go through and decipher, you know, which O-ring goes on which pipe. Everything was ready to go. Again, go ahead and get it easily started by hand here. Finish it off with the wrench. And you want these guys tight, but don't go insane and start breaking stuff. So the smaller hose was 3/4. This guy's a 1-inch. I think on the outside it was 7/8. So it got sized up on one end. All right, feeling tight. I'm gonna go out, hook up 12-volt power to our battery. We should be able to start at least charging this thing. We can charge it, see if it's gonna blow cold. Fingers crossed on that one. Well, I do have one other thing. So there's drains in the back that you're gonna need to tee together. There's 2 drains. So I'm gonna drill a hole here in the floor. You know, just make sure you're, as far as gravity goes, you're under the drain. Where the plug is, you need to be lower than that. Don't drill higher and run the hose running uphill. I'm gonna drill that guy, use a piece of 5/16 fuel hose to be my grommet around it, and then we'll seal it up later when we do our sound deadening in here. But I'm gonna go ahead, drill that, and then we'll move outside to do the electrical. All right, I got a few things zip tied as best I can out here. We're kind of getting into the 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag situation over here on this side of the car. I'm thinking go ahead. Got wing nuts on these guys, so it's pretty easy. Add and subtract wires right now. So we're gonna hook up our positive and our negative. Doing negative first because it looks like I'm gonna have to figure out how to route the positive because it's a little bit longer. I don't know why they would do that. So maybe, ooh, something's got some current going to it. All right, got her flexible enough. I can kind of put it somewhere that I can live with it for now. Then I did do a walk around, just make sure none of the lines that you just ran are close to the engine or anything like that. I got everything kind of zip tied out of the way, at least a good amount of space right now. This wire is going to have to be rerun to get it kind of out of the way. I'm going to try and go up and over with it. All right, she's wired up. We got everything mounted on the outside, wired. The inside is wired up, hooked up, mounted. So I'm gonna turn on the switch, just make sure, well, actually, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's start the car. I want it running, so I want at least alternator voltage going to the battery, because I have no idea how quick an electric AC compressor can, suck your voltage down. So we'll go ahead and do that. And this system's been vac down, so it's ready to go. So I would recommend that, like, I think they say 10 to 15 minutes, hold vacuum on it, just to get any moisture out of the lines or the compressor or the condenser. It can be anywhere, but we vac that down. Now we're just gonna pour the AC refrigerant to it. Hope she starts blowing cold, but let me get this thing started. Going live. Oop. I've had the fuel pump disconnected, doing some troubleshooting the past few days on electrical. I'm gonna hook this guy back up. All right, where'd my wire go? All right, let me find that. Got it, it was hiding behind the brake booster. She cranks right up. All right, we got blower. It's blowing. So we're gonna start feeding her the coolant. Feels like it's taking the can. I had about a 3/4 gone can and another full can, and that should be what you're shooting for. It's like 600 grams plus or minus 10 grams. That should be about perfect. All right, well, she sucked that can down. Man, this motor runs so good. I like to kind of work the can back and forth. Give her a shot. Compressor itself is cold. I think that's a good sign. Still taking her. Should be it. That's 2 cans, well, 1 3/4. Let's go inside and put our hand on it, see what we got here. Wow. I mean, it's putting out a bunch of air. It's cold. I'd say it's cold. This will definitely be enough to keep us pretty cool on Poverty Tour, and it blows hard. Like, you can, like, back up, like, I can feel a real good gust even back here. I mean, that's good. That's perfect for me. We're gonna need to aim this guy this way, this guy this way, this guy straight at me, and I'll close that one. It'll make these guys blow harder. I swear, I think it's even getting cooler. All right, let me go grab my temp gun and see if I can get some shots on the temp here, the AC. All right, got some batteries for the old temp gun. Man, that thing just so nice. Just put her on wide open. Give it a minute to get going. And you guys got to remember too, when we take this reading, there's not a whole ton of air flowing through the condenser. You don't have that effect of driving and getting that moving air going across the condenser. So 54 degrees, 53, 52. I guarantee you this, oh, we got a 46, a 44. I told you guys it was cold. 39, dang, Paul Wall must have took a deep breath. See, man, what a deal for 550 bucks. You cannot beat this. Like, everything in this car AC wise was shot, and this is gonna get us through the trip. So we got one of the things that we absolutely had to have done, and we're on to the next project on this car, which is the shell of an interior, if you can't tell. So I like to start at the top, headliner, work my way down, because everything's gonna fall on your floor and you can clean it up last before you put the carpet down. So carpet, then seats, dash pad will be the absolute last thing I bolt in, so I don't want to damage it. It looks really nice. But we'll probably start on weather stripping, do the door panels, all the handles, and throw a wheel back on this thing. And I do have a working horn. So there we go, guys. She's just blowing and going, man. 46, 44. Awesome. That's exactly what you want to see. If you guys haven't seen the last video on the gauges, you better go back and watch it. Super nice. Ooh, it's all cold. Cool down the whole shop, even with the doors open. No, but it's nice in there. That's gonna work perfect. So if you have the financial means to buy one of these units, you can put it in. Literally anybody could do this. This is point A to point B to point C. Like, it steps you through the whole thing, and it's not complicated wiring at all. Honestly, the hardest thing is lining up the 4 bolts to get you a good mount on the compressor. Somehow I did that in the first shot. I don't know. And then finding a good spot to hang your inside unit. That's it. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. You don't need to switch 12 volt because you're wiring directly to the battery. So keep in mind this thing, you're gonna have to turn it off every time you get out of the car. Don't leave that thing blowing. That'll run your battery down real quick. So easy wiring, easy to run the lines. We're gonna have to go back and shorten some lines at some point. I mean, this is bordering ridiculous how much stuff I have just coiled up under the hood of the car. But you know what? It's gonna work for what we're doing. And the old Chevelle, she's one step closer to me getting some miles on it to kind of do some shaking down before we got to drive 3,500 miles. So hope everyone's kind of rooting for me on that. I've talked to a bunch of other people that are getting like super pumped about Poverty Tour, working on their rigs and getting them ready, and, you know, meeting up various times along the route. We're planning to go do at least through Utah, which I think is the end. We're not gonna go back with everyone, but we're gonna go from Utah all the way to San Diego, pretty much, Temecula, and then we'll go Temecula, Navasota in this. So pray that the gas prices go down and this thing gets more than 7 miles per gallon. That'll help everyone out and the environment. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're thinking about an electric AC kit, do it, because it's not hard, easy difficulty, looks super clean on the inside of this car. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And if you could, just like, comment, subscribe. Any interaction with the channel helps a ton. We're super small, but any interaction gets us in front of more eyes, and I always really appreciate that. Until you see me next time, man, just go out, do something that makes you happy, but make sure you're doing it on full blast. I'll see y'all later.